Okay, it's time for me to finally film this update. I swear I filmed an update while I was going through the process, but I apparently have lost that somewhere. So I'm just going to talk about everything that happened. So, I think the last time I updated, I talked about me being in the hospital and I believe I went to my appointment and everything and was starting the process of miscarrying on my own. And we did go out of town, 4 hours away. Did not want to delay my trip or cancel it. Figured, go to a hotel room, made sure to look up local hospitals, made sure to know where they are, which the toilet, making sure where they were pretty close to where our hotel was. So the day we left for our trip, I was definitely getting more consistent cramping, not bad. And I mean, I don't want anyone to relate to this because the way my body works, I don't know if it's a high pain tolerance or just the way my uterus is, or the way I experience pain is a lot different than someone else will. So please do not expect your process to be painless, because this is the second time I've had a miscarriage. The first time I only felt I was very uncomfortable towards the end, towards when it was happening. This time I understood more what was going on because of going through the birth and having a miscarriage before. It never got bad. So I'm going to explain the story here in a second. But we got to the hotel. I did not sleep at all that night, really. I was in and out of the bathroom. My bleeding was increasing. Before that, I was only bleeding when I was wiping. I wasn't spotting anywhere. I did start spotting I was wearing pads just in case, because my last one exploded. This one did not. That's the only way I can describe it. But it was starting to leave blood on my panty liner pad. Having small clots. But I went out to dinner. My appetite wasn't fantastic. I was still having like a lot of pregnancy like aversions. My biggest aversion during pregnancy is fried chicken. So that's really hard one to do when you're going to somewhere more southern where everything's fried, and my body's like, oh. So we ended up having steak, which was perfect because needing the extra iron. I was trying to be as hydrated as possible, drinking body armors. The only thing that I regret is I left my prenatals at home, and I should have just went and got some more. I'm going to use them anyway. I did leave them at home, and you need that extra nutrition while going through the process. So I'm glad the meal that I did choose that night was good. The hotel we were actually had free breakfast as well. The only bad thing about that is I didn't like any of the protein options that they had, so I mainly ate waffles. But I tried to replace that different times of the day. I wish I had done more protein or had something to replace protein and iron and things as I was going through this process. So the next day, after we arrived the next day, we went to Silver Dollar City. And I had a feeling even before I had this confirmation, that this is probably where the show was gonna happen. But I am going to say that I think the walking around was a good distraction, and I also think that it helped with the process of things. Now, I'm not saying go to a theme park to have your miscarriage, but if you can move around, I feel like it's very helpful. I think that's even like the bouncing and the moving, they always recommend that, even like, but when you're in labor or going into labor is good. So I'm kind of glad I did it this time around. The walking helped a lot. There was a couple of times I'd have to stop, and I was having contractions, so I'd have to stop, and it wasn't like painful, it was just very uncomfortable. And also because it's a lot of pressure. It increased more and more throughout the day. I tried to go to the bathroom often, mainly clots and things. So around about 2-3 hours after being there, because we got there around noon, and around 3 o'clock I passed some sort of tissue. It was like about that long, and you know it's tissue because it doesn't dissolve. It was on actually I think on the tissue when I wiped or something, and that's when my bleeding started to increase, a lot heavier. A lot more discomfort after that. The contraction feeling increased. Again, I was not in pain. I was walking around laughing, joking with my husband as I was going through this. Again, 10 out of 10, probably do not recommend doing this, because I think about it now and I was like, the last time I had a miscarriage, I hemorrhaged, and that would have been totally fun to hemorrhage and try to find a hospital. So don't do stupid things like I did. But it was all for family vacation. But again, I mean, anything bad can happen when you're anywhere. This is just, I don't know. I didn't feel bad, so I think this went on for about an hour and a half, and went to take PD to warm up because it was freezing outside. And we were looking at toys, and then I felt a big, I honestly thought I was bleeding everywhere. I thought I was having a hemorrhage at that point. It was just very warm and gross feeling. And I was like, crap, everybody can see it. Like, embarrassing. Picked up PD because he wouldn't come, and ran to the bathroom. And that's when I think the main tissue came out, and it was probably a golf ball size, about this big. I guess that was pretty much the end of it, because my bleeding slowed after that. And yeah, did keep into contact with my doctor's office through all of this, and let them know, like, I passed the first tissue, and then I passed a bigger tissue, that my bleeding increased. I bled period like for 3 or 4 days. After that, I was very sore the rest of the day, and some of the next day. Just the whole like uterus, vaginal area was very sore and tender. Not like super, but I'm actually surprised because I bought Tylenol to take if I got uncomfortable and never ended up taking any. Again, I'm not saying you're going to have a super painful miscarriage, but I don't think I'm normal because I never felt pain. I was not even at this time, I was not even really that uncomfortable, except for like a couple of 3 or 4 times when I was having like a stronger contraction before I passed the big stuff. I spotted for 3 or 4 days. I've been kind of tracking things, and it seems like my cycle's kind of gonna be normal this time. So post miscarriage, I believe I ovulated this past week, which would have been 2 weeks after my miscarriage pretty much. So it seems like my period's gonna be like on time for like normal cycle. So we'll see. I'll keep updated. I'm not sure how I'm doing this video yet. I like to share anything that can be helpful to anybody. Again, I don't know if I shared I was 4 to 5 weeks gross size in there, but I was pretty much 9 weeks pregnant when this was going down. I never really felt pregnant, and I look back at it now and I feel like I knew this was gonna happen because I didn't feel connected to baby at all. And I don't know, my symptoms never really got strong except tender breasts, and constipation was terrible. So glad that's over. That's probably the most uncomfortable part of my pregnancy, and compared to my other pregnancies, that was awful. I hated the constipation. It was terrible this time around. So that's all I have for updates right now. It's probably going to be around high period when I'm going to update again. I did start preparing for my next pregnancy. So my first 2 pregnancies, the one that ended a miscarriage and Peter's pregnancy, I was very good at tracking and temping and everything, and I did not track anything the cycle I got pregnant. And I think that caused me a lot of anxiety because I was like, well, could I have ovulated later, blah blah blah. So I went and got my Pregmate stuff that I like, so the pregnancy test and ovulation test. So I have them for this time around because my stuff was expired last time, so I'll be better off this time. So that kind of got me excited, lit a spark under me. So I am hopeful for the next cycle, but we'll see how I feel after the period. So just wanted to keep you updated. Again, I like to put out helpful information because everybody has different stories and whatnot. So I'll update you all soon. It closed out and then realized there was something I was going to talk about. So the postpartum lightheaded, dizzy, weird feeling I had at my last miscarriage. I think I figured out what was going on. I thought it might have been my vitamin D, so I started taking vitamin D. It helped some, but not a lot. I feel like I usually get low vitamin D in the winter time anyway, so I usually take it, but I didn't. So I took some vitamin D. Actually, a couple of days ago, I added fish oil to that. First day I took fish oil, I had no lightheaded dizziness. I don't know if it was because of that or because I was eating differently. I'm not eating that much differently, but those are the 2 things that I added. Not saying they work. Always consult your doctor if you're really having this. It was the weekend and I was not feeling great, so I did not want to wait till Monday, so I decided to try something different, and it helped. I have not had a little bit of lightheadedness, but nothing abnormal. I do need to increase my hydration as well, so that could be part of it, but the hydration, even with hydration, it was not doing anything. So fish oils helped me. Not saying it's gonna help you at all, but consult your doctor. Just